Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our channel. It's us again, our channel Gurudev. And today I have a very special, very dear friend, guest, Mahashakti Prabhu. Mahashakti Prabhu, thank you so much for joining us today. And I didn't want to introduce you myself. I just want to say a couple words to our viewers about yourself. I know that you've been following spiritual path for a very long time, and you had some incredible teachers on the way of this path. And yeah, please tell us about you. How did it all start? When you were a child, did you have any particular spiritual interest?
Well, thank you for asking me for this interview, Tarini Radhika. It's very kind of you. Yes, actually, I did have an interest in spiritual life at a very, very young age. I haven't really said anything about my early life until recently on one of my posts on Facebook. But I'm happy to share with you that I do have a recollection. I know this is going to sound a little incredible, but I'm happy to share that when I was in my mother's womb, I actually could see Lord Vishnu protecting me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
Oh, you remember yourself up to that point. Wow.
It's not that I have that recollection. I don't recall when that happened. It was before I met the devotees. It was at a very early age. I started to recall because that type of transcendental memory is not subject to time and space. It's something different altogether. It's even as a in the womb, you obviously don't know English and know the language, but the form of the Lord is relating to the transcendent part of yourself. So it's a very interesting experience. And when I entered into the world, my first desire was to find that form, because that's the natural thing. It's the most beautiful thing to see the Lord, and all you want to do is find him again. That's
How
the way.
did you see him? What was the form?
He was like above me and around me.
Mm.
I felt he was protecting me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like I was going, you don't know what's happening. Obviously, when you're in the womb, you have no idea what's going on, how you got there, what is happening. But if the Lord is there and you feel him and see his presence, you feel peaceful.
Wow.
You don't feel worried or anxious. Everything is good. No matter what happens, you're protected. And if you read Bhagavatam, it says that the Lord is there for everyone when they're in the womb. Everyone. It's only a matter of can you see him or not. And that depends on your sukriti, your own devotional life. So if someone sees him, that is because they are qualified, perhaps through some previous devotion. But he's there for everybody to see.
Fantastic. So when you come out of the womb, do you remember how it all started for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was always looking for that form again. That is natural. You want again to see that, because he's the most beautiful form. Anywhere you can lay your eyes, you want to see that form of the Lord. So I was looking unconsciously, and really kind of more unconsciously than consciously, because after a while, it becomes difficult unless you're born in a family of Vaishnavas. So I remember as I was in my adolescent years, I went to a India shop, like a store, and I was very attracted to a shoulder bag that looked very beautiful, had beautiful colors. It was purple and very nicely inlaid. And next to that bag was like a recorder, which was like a flute. So I hadn't seen the devotees yet or knew anything about devotional life, but I was very attracted to this recorder and this flute, which I purchased, and I always kept it in my bag. And so I played, and I kept the
Did you
flute.
learn how to play it?
Yeah, I learned how to play.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was very happy at the sound I was making. I didn't know why. And then when I got into grade school, I took up the clarinet
Mm-hmm.
to play. Like it's like a flute, but the clarinet. I was playing the clarinet.
Can you still play it?
No, I haven't played that in a long time.
You should practice now, particularly now. So how did it go further?
Um, so I had a natural interest in yoga. I
Mhm.
started to practice hatha yoga and meditation. I became a hatha yoga teacher.
Oh,
And
that's
I
like
was
in the 70s, right?
this was in the 60s.
60s. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yoga was
Uh,
popular at this time?
huh?
Yoga was popular?
Yoga was becoming more and more popular. Yeah, hatha yoga at that time for health reasons and even meditation. There was interest. Yes, there was interest in the world, in the country. Yes. And I naturally had gravitated to it very much.
Mhm.
I was into meditation. Um, I was born into a Jewish family, so I had that background, but I didn't get too far with that. It didn't really satisfy my search. So when I gravitated toward yoga, then I practiced hatha. I started teaching hatha yoga. And then one day, it was 1967, I was watching television, and on one of the channels, there was an interview with Allen Ginsberg.
Mhm.
So Allen Ginsberg was very eager to chant because they were interviewing him. He was a very popular figure in the world. He was a poet, what they call a beat poet, like a beat, they call beat poet. So he was really at the cutting edge of the new generation of thought and activity. And even being homosexual, that was also very unusual that someone was openly homosexual.
Mhm.
So he was on the cutting edge of whatever. He's a very intelligent individual. And he insisted during that television interview to introduce this chanting. So he had a small harmonium.
Mhm.
It was one of these traveling harmoniums. It was very small. And he turned to the camera and he started playing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare. And it just like that. That was his tune. Rama Rama Hare Hare. And it was very amazing and eclectic because it was like he was doing a breathing, like a yoga, so I could relate to the breathing, Hare Krishna. And the sound of whatever the mantra he was saying immediately caught me.
Mhm.
Immediately I was captured by this, and I had to know more. I just never seen anything like it. It was beautiful, it was wonderful. And so things started to click for me at that point. And my devotional life became more focused at that point.
So you were specifically looking for Srila Prabhupada after that?
No, I was looking for something that was related to Hare Krishna.
Okay.
That was my first search. 1969, there were devotees at my college in Ohio, and they were chanting outside in the cold during the winter. They were chanting. They came out of a van. I found out they came from New Vrindavan.
Oh, wow. Mhm.
And so I didn't approach them, but I saw them for the first time with the shaved head, and the robes. And that, believe it or not, attracted me. I don't know why. I was attracted to this idea of robes and a shaved head. At the time, I had hair down to the middle of my back because I was a hippie, but I was really attracted to the shaved head. And then in 1970, I went to a different university in Ohio, and they came to the university there, and they put on a whole program, and I got a BTG. I had some sweet rice. I heard the chanting. I interacted more with the devotees. I read the Back to Godhead magazine, BTG, Back to Godhead magazine. I read it. And then within a year from then, I joined in Boulder, Colorado.
Wow. Did you know anything about Vedic philosophy?
No,
Nothing. Just by
nothing.
the form of it, by manifestation.
First time I ever even heard the Bhagavad Gita. Never even knew about it.
Oh, wow. So just prasadam and chanting. That's pretty much it.
Shadam and chanting, and I like the robes, and I like the attire. I don't know why I liked it.
Mhm.
And so I was on a I actually was actually in a yoga ashram in Boulder at the time. I was staying there doing meditation and yoga when the devotees came there, one devotee, and he gave Bhagavad Gita class, and I was very interested. And then 1 or 2 days later, I went to the Sunday feast, and I never left. I shaved my head within 2 or 3 days of
Oh my
being,
God.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was very fast and direct for you.
I shaved my head, and I had the longest sika because my hair was long
Mhm.
so I had this super long sika.
Mhm.
Uh, my parents weren't happy when I joined at all.
Mhm.
They had no idea what they thought I was in college, and they were not happy that I
Okay.
joined.
Mhm.
But when there's an inner calling, you cannot resist that calling. It's very difficult to, because it's your innermost voice.
Did you try to reason it? Did you try to put yourself like, that's not normal, that I should be like everybody else, I should try to go continue with the college, or it was that strong for you that you couldn't even think anymore?
Yeah, in the beginning, it's very overwhelming because you had the beautiful Jagannath deities. You had
Mhm.
so many beautiful things about the temple. You had beautiful, delicious prasadam. The devotees were preaching. It's overwhelming. It's
Mhm.
extremely powerful energy coming from every possible direction. Your senses are overwhelmed and you're immersed in the experience. And so you just can't do anything. It's like riptide in an ocean. You just go along with the current.
Mhm.
But I will tell you, about 3 to 4 months later, I would say maybe 5 months later, after the head was shaved and everything, and I had completely surrendered, I was walking down the stairs from the upstairs ashram down to the temple, and I paused at the middle, and I said, you know, I could leave right now.
Oh.
It's no one holding me back. This is the strangest thing I've ever done in my life. I have these strange, and doubts started to come in. I had the strange clothing on. I had my head shaved. What happened to me? How
Mm.
did I am a completely different world. I'm inside this, and all the doubts came very heavy.
Mhm.
And I said, you know, I can go out and I can, if I really want, I can be a rabbi in the Jewish tradition, if that's really what I need to do. But I could walk out right now, not say goodbye to anybody, and no one would know. And I could just get a bus and go home.
Oh. Mhm. But you obviously didn't.
I didn't leave. I didn't leave. And Krishna, I said it was like, should I leave or not? And in my mind, Krishna said, don't leave.
Okay.
So I didn't leave, and I'm very happy that I never left.
How fast after that did you meet Srila Prabhupada?
We went in 1971 or 71, maybe, I forget which year. We went to the Rath Yatra in San Francisco by van from Boulder. All the different temples took vehicles, and all the devotees came. And that's when I first saw Srila Prabhupada.
Mhm. How many you were?
Uh,
But there was a lot of devotees at this point?
oh, yes. All over the country, maybe probably other parts of the world, but all over the USA, because it was the most popular in the USA.
Mhm.
So we all came from every temple. And we stayed at the San Francisco temple, and there was an upstairs like the size of a gymnasium. And each area of the gymnasium, you know what a gymnasium is?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Each area, there was a designated area for different temples to put their belongings. And
Wow.
we slept in those areas. So like Boulder was here, New Orleans was
Wow.
here, Los Angeles there, and we all got to know each other.
Was it all men?
Huh?
Was it all men or women was as well?
No, this was only for men. Women
Okay.
had another area in the temple that they stayed, the women, but this was men, right? And so it was so fun. I mean, there was in the morning when we took our morning shower, there was only one shower for hundreds and hundreds of devotees.
Oh my God. Wow.
So you had to strip down to your kopans, which was like underwear kopans, right? And it was just early morning, it was still dark out, and there was this huge line, one bathtub with a shower coming in the top, and a devotee would stand there. Two devotees stood there. You had to go through, quick rinse, come out the other side.
Wow.
It
Wow.
was absolutely fantastic. It was
How
amazing.
old you were this time?
19.
Okay. Okay. 19. Yeah, you do this kind of things.
So we had a wonderful time. We all
Mhm.
first saw Prabhupada for the first time.
Uh-huh.
We saw Prabhupada on the Jagannath cart.
Uh-huh.
For the first time, he was on the Jagannath cart in the procession. I'm sure I saw him a little prior to that. I know he gave class, but I don't recall that year or the next year. The 2 years become a little cloudy in my mind. But I know I saw Prabhupada for the first time, I believe, on the cart. He was on the Jagannath cart. He also gave class and like that. So that was my first physical seeing of Srila Prabhupada.
What did you feel?
What was my
What did you feel?
experience?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You can't explain it. It's overwhelming. It's like after everything that I've done to see your spiritual master, it's not even real because it's so real that everything else becomes unreal.
Oh, wow.
When you see Prabhupada, you see someone who's so sober, so fixed, so different than anyone you've ever seen in your life, not just visually, but everything he says. It lifted not just me, but every one of us had the same experience. We were lifted. We could not believe what we were experiencing. And to this day, anyone who you speak with will tell you the exact same thing. It's not an earthly experience. It's something way out of this world. And it gave us so much faith, so much hope, so much determination that all we wanted to do at that point was to become Krishna conscious, to serve Srila Prabhupada, to become as close to our guru as possible. We completely forgot about the material world. All we wanted to do was learn, chant, become Krishna conscious, take over the world, do everything. We had our mission. We were done. We don't know how we got there. We have no idea what happened, but we were placed at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, and we were totally on board his mission. And it was growing rapidly.
Wow.
Rapidly. The Rath Yatras were getting bigger, more decorative, more amazing. More people were coming. More interest was growing in the world, in the nation. Everything we did, every new temple we opened, every new devotee that joined was the beginning of what we thought was going to be the biggest tidal wave in the entire world of the real religion of man. We felt it, all of us. So we were just completely on board. We were organizing. We were doing whatever Prabhupada said. We just wanted to serve him. Oh, you want to publish a book? Well, we have artists. We'll do this. We'll distribute them. We'll go on. We'll do whatever. We were completely sold out. And thank God we were young, that we had the energy to serve Srila Prabhupada, that we could do this. I think we all felt a little embarrassed because he was treating us like we were his disciples, but we were still hippies. I mean, we didn't have any knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada was our best coach, and he wanted to accelerate our learning. So he developed this spiritual sandwich where we did this in the morning, everything was regulated. So everything, which was very good for us, regulation of our lifestyle created more focus. And so in the morning, we had our Bhagavatam class. And then we had Bhagavad Gita later on. We had Isopanishad class, Nectar Devotion, teachings of Lord Chaitanya. We chanted our rounds, circumambulated Tulsi Devi. We had Prashadam and a sir, and we did all this together as a Sangha, each temple.
Mhm.
And so you can go to any temple and every program was the same. It was like wonderful. It was like a franchise. If I went to New Orleans, I knew the program, I knew all the prayers, I knew exactly what had to be done. It was wonderful. So there was this commonality growing everywhere. And so if anyone new came to the temple, you gave them a list of things they had to learn so they can become part of the Bhakti Yoga club, the Sangha temple. And they did. They learned the pranams to Srila Prabhupada. They learned how to put on tilak. They learned how to cook prasadam. Everything was taught. We were training new people coming in. We were preaching, training, and becoming more Krishna conscious ourselves.
What a word.
Phew, just a whirlwind of intensity.
So when did you see him again?
I saw Srila Prabhupada again in Los Angeles. He came, the temple in Los Angeles at that time was where the museum is today in the back. So the temple was there. Prabhupada came. At that time, there were devotees. The women were on one side, the men were on the other. There was a rope on each side that kept everyone from going in the middle. Because we felt that Prabhupada needed to see the deities, not just whether he was there or not. It was important that we felt Prabhupada could always see the deity. So we had rope so that no one can go into the middle.
Wow.
Right. And that because the Vyasasan was opposite the deity. And so that was a wonderful experience. And then after that, I saw Srila Prabhupada again in Mayapur, 1973 or 73, I think it was, or 73 or 4. We had gone to Mayapur, all of us. We had these big 747 planes that we had leased, and we took over hundreds of devotees.
Wow.
Here. It was a huge event. As these 3 747s, which are very big planes, were filled with nothing but devotees. There were no other people on them.
Oh my God! It was the chanting all the way.
All the way, and when we had Mangal Artik in the morning, devotees with kartals and mridanga drum, we were going up and down the aisles chanting like crazy. And the pilot had to come out on our plane and said, "Hey, could you keep it down? I mean, could you not bounce it so much because the plane is getting a little crazy here." So we had to,
plane is dancing.
Plane is dancing.
Oh
so
my God.
And it was really beautiful because when we were in the New York temple on the way into the plane, the New York temple, we stayed there. They had made a picnic basket for us to take with us to India. And in each basket was a super large samosa, not the normal size. This was a super sized samosa. Big. So each person had a prasadam in their basket plus a super sized samosa. I mean, come on.
How bad it can be.
We're leaving on this beautiful plane, 3 plane loads of huge plane loads of devotees.
Was it free for devotees to fly?
Yeah, I don't remember how we did it. I'm not sure if we collected or if it was all taken care of. I don't know how we did it. I'm not sure if we individually had to collect. I think we probably had to collect, and then give our Lakshmi. The president took the Lakshmi. He used that to pay for the flight. So we had to get ourselves checked off. Who's going? Okay, Mahashakti, because we paid for the flight and everything was done. It was very organized.
That's amazing.
My godbrother Mahendra organized the planes. He did all that. It was a very good thing.
So you wrecked in Mayapur?
I have a picture of Prabhupada coming down the steps from the long building. It was called the Long Building. If you look up the history of ISKCON, we had only one building. First, there was only Prabhupada's hut. And then there was one building built with the deities in there. And there was also some places, I think there's one long building. No, there was with the deity. There was for the temple. And then there was one long building for the devotees to stay. And so when we first saw Prabhupada in Mayapur, we could understand that this is where Prabhupada is king. This is really where he seems to be so at home.
Mm.
And he seemed to be shining the most. It was very, it was like being in Prabhupada's world with him in Mayapur. And I have a picture of Prabhupada coming down the stairs in a long building, and he was surrounded by his sannyasis, right? And as he's coming down the stairs, I took a picture, and the picture is absolutely like a sun, the sun planet, surrounded by the stars. There was an effulgence coming off of Prabhupada as he's walking down the stairs. Every moment of my life at that point was magical. There's nothing earthly about anything that was going on at that time. It was only whether or not my body could stand
Tolerate.
all this ecstasy. So it was a whirlwind of activity, and everyone will attest to that. It's amazing.
At this point, you got the initiation?
I got initiated 1971. I got my, I think I was 1971 or 72. I got my Harinama initiation. And then the following year, I got my Brahmin initiation.
How did that happen?
At that time, because there were so many people getting initiated, it was not, Prabhupada could not be everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
So he asked certain sannyasis, he chanted in everyone's beads. So it was Prabhupada who chanted on our beads, but he couldn't give them to us personally.
Right.
So our beads were given to us in a ceremony in each temple by a leading sannyasi. He read our names. He read the letter that Prabhupada wrote to us. He said, "You are my duly elected disciples. I give you this following name." And he wrote, so you can see these letters in the archives, PBT archives. So it was read to us during that function, and the beads were handed to us. And then for my second initiation, I received it. I was in Pittsburgh, not staying there. I was on traveling Sankirtan, and I received my second initiation from Vishnu Janan Swami. So he had a letter from Prabhupada. He also had the mantra written on the Gayatri written on the letter. He put the Gayatri mantra around me, the Brahmin thread around me, and this is in the temple. And he had me sit down next to Prabhupada, the Vyasasan. He put in my ear, I think it was the left ear, the recording of Prabhupada saying the Gayatri mantra while I was reading. So I heard Prabhupada saying the Gayatri mantra while I was looking and reading, and then I practiced that evening on my own. He taught me Vishnu Janan, how to hold it, how to say it with my fingers. Everything was taught to me, and then I started doing it every single day, morning, noon, and evening, the Gayatri mantra.
Right. Oh, wow. I think you mentioned once that you witnessed when Srila Prabhupada was coming down from the airplane and everyone was waiting for him to arrive. There was some story that you like everyone started crying when they saw him, and there was like some kind of maybe it was when he was coming down from the building or from the plane.
No, I think it was somebody else. I don't recall that.
Maybe Narasimhananda told me that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So that was your 3 times you saw Srila Prabhupada?
More than that. I saw Prabhupada more than that. I saw him in Philadelphia. He came for Rath Yatra. He spent 3 days with us there. So I had a lot of good association with Prabhupada. And yeah, then there's pastimes that have been written about those days when he was in Philadelphia at the Rath Yatra.
Right. No. Wow. That's fantastic.
I know.
What a magical times. So how did it all influence your life after that?
Well, I wanted to grow Krishna consciously, follow the example of my god brothers who were advancing. So obviously I read more. I wanted to read and chant more and become more serious in my practice. It doesn't always work that way. It's never a smooth, easy road. Some people, it may be, some devotees, but from what I've seen, and your listeners will also find that there's some rough road ahead. It's not just an easy cakewalk to become Krishna conscious. There are previous karmas that are sitting in our body that are desiring to become experienced, right? They want to come out. But the Krishna consciousness practice is melting those desires. It's transforming them. Sometimes they want to come out and they're very powerful. And so you see sometimes devotees may leave the practice, or they may take a few steps backwards. Some devotees leave and don't come back in this life.
Did it ever happen to you?
No. Actually, I did have a little bit of a rough road for about 6 months. I think this was 1990 or 80, 1993, 94, around that time. I did stop chanting for about 6 months. I got a little too much involved with business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and things like that, and new experiences. So that's something I really want to caution devotees about, because I'm older now, so my life experiences are different. So I can say now for certainty that be careful that because Krishna will give nice experiences sometimes to us because of what we're doing, and we may think that we don't need Krishna. So we may go and think about material things, this and that. Our mind will play tricks on us, and we may think it's that we could do without Krishna. And I want to caution you that this is not a good idea. We really should try to always keep Krishna first in our life. That's the most important instruction that I can give to myself and to give to your listeners, is no matter what happens in life, always keep Krishna first. Then it's okay to do business. It's okay to have family. It's okay to do almost anything that's legal and that's fruitful. But if you forget Krishna, then your life's going to become miserable. You'll become, too many material desires will settle in, and your life will be meaningless.
And it will be empty.
Yeah.
Tell me about the time when Srila Prabhupada passed, left his body. I know there was a lot of grief. There was a lot of chaos. So how did you manage?
That was unbelievable. Prabhupada had only been with us since 1965, and most of us only knew him from 69 or 70. Most of us joined right around then.
Yeah.
Prior to that, there was a small number of devotees, and then it just ballooned around 1970. The congregation grew, and Prabhupada was only with us for 7-8 years. That was incomprehensible that Prabhupada had left so quickly. We were very demoralized. We were beyond grief. We just we couldn't understand what would happen to us. There was a lot of problems in the society at that time. New gurus who were not qualified started trying to take Prabhupada's place.
Right.
And it really was terrible. It failed miserably. It was a lot of angry devotees, not happy with the level of devotion that these gurus were exemplifying, and the way that the society was moving forward, and it divided all of us. A lot of Prabhupada disciples were upset. We could not get on board behind the gurus. They sometimes forced us out of the temples. They said, you either follow us or, yeah. So everything.
That point, wow.
Yep, Prabhupada disciples were being dismissed because they were not in agreement with the process, with these gurus who were calling themselves these Vishnupad, Krishnapad, Bhaktipad, all these names, and they were expecting lots of worship, and we couldn't handle it. It was just terrible. So the society went through terrible changes, and it took years and years and years to get us back on track. Sometimes we went over to see Srila Sridhar, asking for advice. Some people went to Srila Narayan, asking for advice, asking for his guidance. It was really
a lot of movement, a lot of
the society had become unstable, and we never forgot Prabhupada as a center. So even though the new gurus were making things worse at the time, we all knew Prabhupada was the center. So that's how we got back on track, because as a society,
you were still Prabhupada centered.
Yes. And that's what it is today. It absolutely, everyone feels it, everyone knows it. That's why we're back on track and we're growing, because even though we have many, many gurus who are, all the gurus know Prabhupada is the Acharya. He's the founder of ISKCON. He is where all the worship goes through him. He's a central figure, and no one forgets that. And that's why our society is growing so well right now.
Your spiritual path is amazing. It's really amazing. It looks like you didn't have the beat mist. It was like just like some kind of, you're always carried by Krishna consciousness.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think today it's good for any new devotee, because I see that new devotees are enthusiastic. There is a lot of support now, more than we had before. There's all types of online help, online academies, online ways you can
from
learn.
all over the world, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that their devotees are making good use of the internet and all these different facilities to train others. There's lots of kirtan going on everywhere. There's beautiful temples. I really think that for anyone who joins now, they have a really, really good support system.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. So speaking of, what is your next step? What are you doing now?
You know, anyone who is really feeling the devotion or the gratitude from Prabhupada that Prabhupada has given them has an obligation to help others. It is not easy because people are so immersed, just like we were. They are immersed in complete darkness. They have no knowledge of the Vedas, no knowledge of yoga, bhakti yoga. They're starting from ground zero, and they like to eat McDonald's and eat beef. So it's really, really hard when you think about how you're going to preach to people. It's really hard, but we have an obligation to do so. We have to try. We have to try. And so I want to start this Krishna Academy. And I want to do the best I can. It's going to be an adjunct to ISKCON. It's not something in place of. It's meant to help anyone. Because I think when you're in the temple, sometimes you don't always get the best training, because you have a lot of duties to do, a lot of service to do. You have to go and do many things. I'm not saying you can't get great training, but some people, either you're not living in the temple directly, or maybe you still feel you need more training. Or maybe you're a new devotee that's interested and you're maybe a little shy about going to the temple. There's maybe different situations and circumstances for everyone. So the Krishna Academy wants to be a full-fledged academy to help anyone with an interest to fan that spark by teaching, training, personal relationship interaction, like we're doing today with the Zoom, give people the opportunity for personal interaction. We will do everything that's possible to help someone develop their Krishna consciousness. That's the purpose of Krishna Academy.
Mhm. Is it going to be online or it's going to have actual physical
The
place?
vision is for both.
Mhm.
We want to create online association, and then we want to have to overflow to personal association in different parts of the world. We also want to do retreats. I think retreats are great. They really help people get away from their work life and their regular life for 3 days, for a week, to a retreat. They come and they can really focus. So I think retreats are going to be part of our Christian Academy. There might be some physical locations as well, and there'll be an online experience as well.
Mhm. Fantastic. I know you're writing a book as well.
I'm writing a book that describes Krishna consciousness, again, as a support to Srila Prabhupada, because he's taught me everything. There's nothing I know outside of what Prabhupada taught me. So it's not a new book, but you always want to write in pursuance of what your guru taught you. That's how it's done. So I'm trying to write my experiences and understanding of Krishna consciousness, which is really what come from Prabhupada's books. But when a disciple writes it, who has been a disciple for a long time, it adds to what Prabhupada has written, because someone who's reading it, who's new, they will get additional information or additional support as to the idea of becoming Krishna conscious. It's like Prabhupada explained that the Bhagavatam, when it's passed down through the great acharyas, it's like a parrot, shuka. The parrot, when a parrot, it pecks on a piece of fruit, it actually makes the fruit sweeter. I didn't know that, but Prabhupada said this. And it's the same when people speak Bhagavatam and they have some experience, they're bringing more of that experience to the table so that people who are listening get it from different areas, different ways, and they get a better picture. And so in this way, if a disciple writes about Krishna consciousness, it may impact someone else who gets it. Oh, yes, I get it now. I get what is being said here. So you may shed a little more light on what Prabhupada is saying, which is what the intention of a disciple is.
Can't wait to read it and see it fulfilled. Can you give us some kind of blessings? What can you suggest to new devotees, to people who are watching us?
Yes, actually, I want to encourage everyone that honestly, we're not this body at all. We're not this body. We're not male. We're not female. We're not the form that we have. First, I will say this: everything that we are pursuing in material life has to fail. And the reason why it has to fail is because we're growing old in the body. The aging of the body destroys everyone's dreams. Everyone's, without exception. So you have an absolute fact there. Every single person's dreams are destroyed because the aging body destroys everyone's accumulation, everyone's wealth, everyone's family, everyone's knowledge. Everything is destroyed because the body is growing older and will die. So you cannot escape that in the material world. You can't escape that fact. What we are seeking is an everlasting body. That's the solution. And the only way we can receive an everlasting body is by getting that body by the grace of Krishna. So if you want to get an everlasting body, you have to become an associate of Krishna. If you don't want an everlasting body, then you oppose him and you stay in the material world. And that's really the only two choices that any intelligent human being has. So that's the good news. The good news is, know that one important fact. You can take that to the bank. You cannot win in this material world. Time takes away everyone's dream. Everyone gets a broken heart. Everyone will die with a broken heart. But if you want to be happy, you have to have an eternal body. And that eternal body only comes through Krishna consciousness.
Thank you so much, Mahashakti. I think it's perfect note for to finish this interview. And it's been very inspirational. Thank you so much for your words of wisdom and your experience, sharing especially experience that you had. It's just amazing, just like by approaching it and hearing it, it's already very it's like pastime. So it's like something that you read in the books and you just like by touching it even this way, it's amazing. Thank you.
That's actually a good point, Tarini, Radhika, because Prabhupada's Leela or pastimes are the same for us. And we read Prabhupada's pastimes, they're pastimes. Yeah, anything in relation to Guru and Krishna is a pastime for us, isn't it? It's
Absolutely.
Yeah, these are very important pastimes for us to listen to and to remember,
get inspired, absolutely, to get
to
inspired
inspire us. Yeah,
and to get the
yeah.
tools how to get out of this illusion.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for asking me for this interview. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.